I think one of the most heartbreaking and difficult challenges I face as a sex therapist is when couples come in or when partner comes in and asks me, Mary Jo, how do I rebuild trust? Should I rebuild trust with someone who betrayed me? I think being betrayed by the person you love is the most difficult position you will find yourself in life. And the reasons that it's so difficult is it rocks your world because the person you trusted most, all of a sudden you find out they were with someone else. It hurts like nothing else. It's just like a pounding in your heart, and you don't get over it. In fact, I think it's fair to say that although 2/3 of all my couples do end up staying together, I'm not sure they ever fully resolve it. Or, I'm hoping, I'm trying to help them create something better, but I'm not sure what that ever truly feels like because we're all works in progress and everybody has different places when you would ask them that question, what they would say. If you have children, I think it's even harder because you not only have to think of what's best for yourself, but you have to think about what's best for your children, not only financially and growing up with a dad, especially if they're loving, or a mom, especially if she's a good mom, but you have to face every day what this person did to you and somehow not pass that on to your child, that anger, that bitterness, that resentment. In my practice, just as many women cheat as men. And so, because this is such an equal thing that happens to both sexes and the way they process it is so different, I decided to give you 13 things that I think are important to consider of if you should work to rebuild trust, and then how to do it. And the first of those things is you need to talk it over. You need to talk it over with your partner, with the person who cheated on you. You need to find out what happened. You need to find out how they feel about it, where they're at, and you need to do it directly. And you need to do it in a way that you're gathering facts, not that angry stage where you're just yelling at them, because nothing is going to happen in that stage. I think it is important to get that stage out, work that through, feel that, but at the same time, talking it over is not that. Talking it over is really getting the facts of where you both are, what you think you should or can do for the relationship. And secondly, you have to decide to meet halfway. When betrayal happens, it's the person who betrayed who is at fault. I don't care what was going on in the relationship. The choice to cheat is a choice made by an independent person. That person always has to take the greater part of the blame. But the person who wasn't cheating, the person who was faithful, if you can at least identify some of the things that were going on in your life that may have contributed to that choice or to them being in that situation, that's going to be helpful for you on the side of rebuilding the trust. If you can't see that, then I don't believe you'll be able to work on that side, because if you see it, I'm underlining, it is their choice. It is 99% their fault, but you did have something. If you can see it, then there's a chance you can rebuild it. And you have to set conditions. You have to decide, if you're going to rebuild trust, that there are going to be new conditions, that you are going to share all passwords, that you are going to limit how much you're around particular people who may have been part of the issue. You're going to have to really overhaul the relationship. And by overhaul, I mean take everything literally out of your pockets and put it on the table. And that includes phones. Any laptops you have, any iPads you have, anything must be gone through so that both people know exactly what they're dealing with. And I think sharing passwords is a key, just like sharing a joint account They're key ways of keeping the relationship in a line that is guarded and protected and held accountable. You have to forgive. You have to choose to forget. Nobody, and I mean nobody, forgets when they've been cheated on. It stays with them throughout their lifetime. When people are dying and I'm working with them as they leave this world, they remember who betrayed them. That's how deep it is. But you can choose to forget. You can choose to put that second to the person standing before you. And it is a choice. Forgiving is something you're going to do for yourself. It's not letting them off the hook. It's not necessarily for them. It may help them, may make them feel better, may make them feel more equal coming in to love you again. But it's really something you do for yourself. And I think that is important no matter what. But forgetting, you'll never forget. So you have to choose. And I would choose not to let it go completely, because I know that would be a futile attempt, but I would try putting it second to the relationship if I were going to try and work it through. The next thing is, if you're going to give it a second chance, you have to give it a fair second chance. You have to make it so that it's really fair. Like, you basically are saying, we're going to give this a second chance. We're going to try it for 6 weeks. We're going to institute these new conditions. This is after the new boundaries are set up. And we're going to try it for 6 weeks, and we're going to come together and check in and see how we both feel at that point. There's no rush with this. You don't have to decide today, I'm out or I'm in. It's not like that. It's a process. And so taking it 6 months at a time, I think, is the only way to really get through it, if you choose that you're going to forgive them and work it out, to rebuild it again. Spend quality time together. As much as you can, it's important that you share that hurt load and that you share your lives. Quality time is being alone together without distractions. Quality time is taking 10 minutes when you would have had it for yourself and seeking out your partner and saying, can I sit with you? Can I just hold your hand? Can we go for a walk? And hopefully the one who has the most part of the responsibility of this, which would be the cheater, would be the most aggressive in this, or assertive, the one seeking out the most. Yes, you'll feel bad about it because you hurt them. And sometimes being with them is helping feel that load of hurt. It's not necessarily repeating, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but it is being with them and letting them know you are there to share that hurt you caused them. Talk to common friends, common non-judgmental friends, friends who you feel want the best for you guys, and talk to them about what they believe, what they think, what they see. Do they see changes? I think it's important that who you talk with are not those bitter friends who have been through divorces or have told you, oh yeah, they all cheat, or make these kind of stereotypical responses, because you're very vulnerable right now and you can be seduced by those kinds of friends. Just as you can be seduced by a priest or a minister who says, you must stay in the marriage even if you've been cheated on. No, that's not how it works. You stay in a marriage because you want to rebuild the trust and you want to rebuild and create a better marriage. You don't stay in a marriage and just suck it up and expect to have this happen again. That is not the way you heal from this. Ask advice from your parents, especially if you have two parents who you really respect and are close to, who you feel are not judgmental of the person who cheated. Many times when parents are very critical or judgmental of your choice in spouses, and especially if they've been divorced themselves, they'll be quick to advise you to just let it go. But I don't always do that with clients, because I don't think it's any person's place, mine either, to tell you that you should let go, unless I see symptoms of some kind of abuse or just no repentance at all, or absolutely no effort to share your pain and to make a change, then I would say, yeah, no way, I wouldn't work this out anymore. But when you talk to your parents, they should want to help you. They should say things like, if you want to work it out, we'll support you. We'll help you pay for a therapist. If we can, we'll help you with childcare so the two of you can get it back together. And as for space, remember in the beginning, I told you, if you decide to work on this and rebuild trust, you have all the time in the world. Take your time, get your space. Tell your partner, listen, I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I need space. This space should be sacred. This means you're in two different spaces. You shouldn't have to worry that because they're so fragile, the person who cheated on you, that they need another person to hold them up. And if you did catch them cheating again or out with another person at this time, then they're demonstrating that they have very poor boundaries. They would be a bad investment in working it out within the future. Your children would be better without growing up in a marriage like that as well. And don't deny the problem. Don't somehow think it's magical, and because you chose to forget that all of a sudden it didn't happen. It did happen. And you didn't deserve it. And this person has a character flaw who cheated on you. And so keep your eyes wide open. This flaw, is it something they can contain? Is it something the marriage can work with? Or is it not? Is it something that's going to come back again and again? And this is a very important thing, that you think about it and that you're on board with it, that you're very aware. Keep your eyes open no matter what anybody tells you. And don't force the rebuilding of trust. Trust is one of those things, it takes forever to trust someone. It takes a minute to lose it. So if you trusted this person and they betrayed you, then don't expect to be all okay after a talk. Don't expect after 3 months of therapy, it's all gone. Just like I told you before, keep your eyes open and be aware it's a character flaw in your partner. And next, I think it's important to weigh your decisions and pray for wisdom. Because when you weigh your decisions, you can't only think with your heart. You have to use your head. And you have to use your spiritual source. You need to be able to pray to God. You need to see God's work in your life. You need to know that you're wise enough and strong enough in the person you are to make a decision you're not going to regret. And let's face it, if you are advised or your wisdom tells you, your prayer tells you you should work it out, you always have time to go back and reconsider if you see something else that's scaring you. And lastly, it's all about respecting yourself. You have to respect yourself enough to know that this person is never going to heal from this, that this person is a cheater. They cheated on someone in their past. They cheated on you. It has not much to do with you or the person in the past. It's all about your partner. They're a cheater. And whether that's due to their own issues of abandonment or a sociopathic or a narcissistic bend or whatever it is, let them get their own therapy. They should, but don't let that taint your life or the lives of your children. There's a lot of things that are confusing about marriage. People think you get married and you have a great marriage, or you get a divorce. No, you get married and then you work. You work all the time on your marriage together. Children don't need to grow up in a marriage to be successful. They need to grow up in a healthy marriage. A healthy marriage, it tells you it's healthy because both partners are flexible and both love the marriage or the relationship enough to make personal changes, sacrifices in themselves. They give up selfish tendencies to make it better for the relationship. And when you know you've got that, I tell you, children will soar with that. But you don't have that if you have a partner who's cheating on you and who has a history of people they've cheated on in the past. Can't believe them. They're liars. And mostly they're broken and they need to see someone, and they don't need you. They need a therapist.